Welcome to Pioneer Portraits. I am your host, Darla Miller. Join me as we dig into the university experience of Malone students and alumni and hear more about what challenges, encourages, and inspires them. Well, I'm excited today to be here with two of our wonderful students, and they have something in common that we'll talk about a little bit later. But why don't you tell us who you are and where you're from?
Well, my name is Kimberly Blair. I'm from Zanesville, Ohio, which is a little down south. And I am a nursing and global international study major with a minor in Spanish.
Yay, Spanish.
And I'm John Evan. I am a junior here at Malone. I study sport management and business administration, and I have a minor in coaching. And I'm from a little farm town about 50 minutes south of here called Newcomerstown, Ohio.
I think Greg and I were just down in your area, actually. We went south and then went near, I'm going to say Cadiz, because that's how one would say it.
Okay.
But in Ohio, I think it's Cadiz.
Cadiz.
Got to learn how to do that. All right. So you guys both live on campus, both live in the dorms. And what you have in common, in case you didn't know, is that you were both course assistants for the freshman experience course. And so in a little bit, I want to talk a little more about that and find out just what you think about that. But first, why don't you tell us what drew you to Malone, and what was the way that what was your path here?
I can start, yeah. So I kind of have Malone on my radar because I had several visits up here because my aunt and uncle both actually went to Malone.
Oh, neat.
And then
That's
when
awesome.
they graduated, they lived probably 3 minutes off campus, off of Market. So whenever we came up to visit them, we would always be up here. And I would walk around campus. It was always so beautiful. And I always kind of had it on my radar. But I actually started at Ohio State, and I was there for maybe a week and a half. And I was like, oh my gosh, I have no clue what to do. Like, I was overwhelmed. It was like middle of the pandemic. I had no clue what to do. I just felt so overwhelmed. So I called my mom, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do. And then I actually got in touch with my aunt and uncle, and they kind of had a virtual tour on the website. So we had a virtual tour that we did. And then the next day, I came home, which was a Tuesday. And then Wednesday, I had a visit at Malone. And Linda Hoffman was the admissions counselor here at the time. And she said, do you want to come here? And I was like, absolutely. Like, let's do this. And she was like, okay, your first class is in 15 minutes.
Oh, my goodness.
Wow.
So we walked directly from the barn to my Gen 100 class, and it's kind of funny how it came full circle because obviously I'm involved with Gen 100 now, but that's how I got here, and 3 years later, it's one of the best decisions I've made, I can say.
What a great story. How about you, Kim?
So actually, funny enough, so my grandma, she lives in Alliance, and so whenever I'd come up here with my family, like during the summers or like just to see her, we'd drive past Malone on 77, and I'd be like, oh, who would want to go to a small school in Ohio? But then when I was like looking at different universities and like trying to figure out like where I wanted to go and stuff, it just like nothing was sitting right, nothing felt right. I applied to like several large schools. Like I actually was going to go to Ohio State, and then I remember going to the tour and like talking to one of the nursing professors, and they're like, yeah, our class size is like I think it was like 800 or something. I was like, oh, for nursing. So I was like, I don't know about that, but then it was funny. I had then got accepted to a school in Indiana, and I went there, and I was there, and I was like, this just does not feel right. And then my mom's like, what about Malone? And I was like, Malone? And we came to a tour. Actually, it was in June, so it was kind of late. I applied late. And as soon as we were here, it's just like everything felt right. I felt like the Lord's peace was just like upon me, and I was like, this is where I want you. This is where I've called you. And I talked to like the nursing chair, which was Debly at the time, and she just like she made me feel so comfortable, made me feel so safe, made me feel like I could like excel in nursing here. And I've always had a heart for like missions, and so I was like, is that something I could do? And then I talked to Dr. Rowe about the Global International Study major, which is kind of like a study abroad program, and where you also like, you do classes, but then you also have a host family. And it just like, I was like, that just sounds so perfect, and I can like learn about other cultures and experience it. And then you had a Spanish minor, which I've always wanted to be able to know another language, because I mean, like, Spanish is huge. And for missions, I was like, that would be perfect. And so it's just like, it was weird how everything just like fell into place for like how the majors and minor all interacted together. And so, yeah.
Wonderful. Well, I loved having you in class.
That was great.
So
it was fun.
I felt a little special with that. Yeah. Tell me something that you have enjoyed the most about your Malone experience.
Do you want to start?
Okay. Okay. This semester, I am in love with I love all of my professors so far at Malone, but this semester, I'm in the nursing program this year. So this is the sophomore year. So we're in the thick of it now. And, they've been so great, so supportive. Like, they want you to succeed. Even the micro, Dr. Lane, he is the best. Like, I love him. I'm in class and like I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I went to his office hours and he was like, it's okay, we'll get you there. And I was like, do you think I should drop the class? He was like, no. He was like, we're only 2 weeks in. And he just like put my soul at peace. And like, so honestly, the professors this semester for me have made my year.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's the community, specifically in the dorm. So I was in Haviland my first 2 years, and then we moved over to Heritage. But just the community that we have there with the RAs and even just the students in general, even with the RD Micah, it's just crazy. Like, we do so much fun events and cool events. Like, even last night, we had a Super Bowl watch party in the second floor lounge, and there was probably 50 people that showed up. So just an example of what we can do. We all kind of rally around each other and find common interests and just love on each other and kind of embody like the love that Christ shows us. It's great. Winning Airband last year, like just participating in that, the gallon challenge that we do every spring. Those are just examples off the top of my head, but I just love the community and the guys that I live with, that I get to interact with on a day-to-day basis. It's so much fun to me. That's
great. How about you in the dorms?
I love the dorm. A couple of friends they were like, would you ever want to like move off campus? And I was like, honestly, no. I love the experience because like the doors open, like you have that community, like he was saying. Like, I feel like we might not do as many events as the guys, but like there's always someone to talk to. You'll be walking down the hall and somebody will be like, oh, hey, and then you're just like have a nice long chat, or like you can de-stress together. So I love the dorm life.
Awesome. You mentioned Airband.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me what's happening.
Yeah, so this year I'm involved as a host, but Airband's just a yearly lip sync competition that we have on campus. It's a great way to kind of rally together as a campus community and just kind of have fun and just experience the culture and the community at Malone. So I'm hosting this year and kind of nervous about that and excited, but yeah, we got some great stuff on the way. We got a lot of good acts this year, and we'll be working with Josh and stuff for that. So it's exciting, and I'm really ready for it, but I mean, as we get closer, I'm also starting to get a little nervous for it too.
Well, I'm excited I get to judge, I guess. I found out this week. Yeah,
that's so cool. Look, we got a judge, we got the host, man.
Are you a participant?
I am going to be in the audience.
Oh, you're going to be an audience.
I'm being an audience.
Well, that is
somebody's got to cheer.
So tell me some activities that you've been involved in that are extracurricular. We know that you're doing Airband. Have you done anything on campus, Kim, that you're like, oh, this would be a great thing to do?
I love that Malone has like the community like outreach, like the service. Like that's always been really cool for me, like on the Saturdays. Mm-hmm. That's been the big one, but that I've been a part of besides, and then there's also the CA program. But besides that, like it's been pretty much just like hanging out with people and such like that. But
I know when you first came, I have the benefit of knowing this about her. When you first came, you were a little quiet and shy and felt a little bit like a fish out of water. And if I'm wrong, you can correct me.
No, that's probably right on the tee.
So both of you guys, you've got students that are here on campus that are feeling that way even now in February. What are some things that you would advise them about? What would you recommend for them?
To kind of get in and I think like really embrace what Malone has to offer. I would say like as much as it can be scary, try to step outside of your comfort zone. Mm-hmm. I know it can be scary. And I know I try to pay attention and try to include people that I can kind of have a sense that they're like that. But I was the exact same way in my freshman year too. Mm-hmm. Like coming from Ohio State, jumping in here like 2 weeks late. Most of my first semester I felt that way. And it really took the urging of the RAs and even the RD in my building, which was Haviland my freshman year, kind of be like, hey, even if you can't stay for long, like come to this floor event or come to this hall event. It's just a great way to meet some guys and just to hang out. So as I started to do that, I kind of felt more comfortable and started to make relationships with all of them. And then before I knew it, have a pretty pivotal role, I guess, in those things now, even though I'm not an RA.
That's right, John.
Yeah, so it's great. I just like take chances and just experience like what we have to offer, because we have so many amazing things that we do for students on a weekly basis here, like through even SFOs, and now I'm leading a life group, and I just never thought that any of that stuff would be possible my freshman year. But once I kind of stepped outside of my comfort zone and was willing to kind of take the risk to experience what Malone has to offer, I think now I'm reaping so many of the benefits now. Yeah.
Wonderful.
No, I completely agree with that. Like, for me, it was definitely like, as you said, like I think I was very uncomfortable with who I was. And then it helps like when I started making like a couple friends, then I was like, oh, other people are scared too. And then I was like, oh, well, this would be fun to try out. And then like, just like going to more things, like going to all the things that like that Malone has to offer. Cause like a lot of times people say that Malone doesn't have opportunities, but it really does. It may be not the normal, like of what a, like, you know, like a public school would have, but like it's so much more richer because like there's actual relationships, there's actual substance behind it. Like you can build those relationships that you couldn't make before, like the SFOs. Like that was a big one for me. Like freshman year, like I remember my first semester, I went to the required SFO amount, and that was like it. And then my second semester, I feel like this was when the Lord really started changing my heart. Like I just started going to everything. I was like, you know what, why not? And it just like I started making friends, and I was like, you know what? I'm okay with who I am. So like, honestly, my thing is just like be able to realize that you are enough, you do belong, and you can build a community wherever you go. It does seem scary and it's hard, but it'll be worth it in the long run.
I love that. So this seems like a great place to transition into telling us what is the freshman experience, first of all. And then I have some other questions about it. So why don't you start telling us what it is and why you think it's important?
Yeah, so it's one of the bookend courses for the general education pathway at Malone. So it's the first course that all first-year students or freshmen have to take when they get to Malone. It's the general education course, and it really does help them transition from high school to college. What are the expectations like? Trying to have them settle in and find, like, at least, if nothing else, a community with the class. And really just preparing them for what college is going to be like specifically here at Malone, and all the ways that they can find community and find themselves comfortable to have a great college experience while they're here at Malone.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Gen 100, like for me, it just like at the beginning of the semester, I was not very open to it. I remember as a freshman, I was like, this is just like another hoop I have to jump through. You know, it doesn't pertain to my major, but yet it does. It does pertain to my major because, I mean, I'm going to nursing, and nursing is all about like people. Gen 100, I feel like, is all about people. Like it's all about building those relationships, having those conversations. Like we're in Gen 100, you're required to like meet with a partner each week, and during those meetings, like you kind of have to talk to each other. And like I remember one of the conversations I had with a girl in my Gen 100 group, like we ended up talking for like 3 hours, and it was like one of the most fulfilling conversations because like we have very different backgrounds in a way and like different ideas, but we were able to actually talk about it and like be respectful of each other's differing views and differing opinions, which was really fulfilling for me. And it just like it helps build like your character, I think, like in learning how to build connections and stuff.
So what does the course assistant do? And I guess this is kind of a three-part question. What do you do? Why did you want to become a course assistant? And what was the process to get there?
Yeah, so what we do, I think we are responsible for helping to facilitate those relationships with the students in our section. So we're responsible for organizing essentially weekly section events, which are just outside of class gatherings, could be on campus, could be off campus with our sections, in order to kind of get them, building community within the section and just to hang out, honestly. So we do that weekly. And then we also meet with the faculty members. So each of us are paired with the faculty member that we help to teach class with. So we meet weekly for a planning meeting for that. So my faculty member this year was Megan Mock. So it was kind of cool to come down here to the Johnson Center and to hang out with her weekly. And then we went to Walkie Talkie to get coffee, just to both even that relationship with the faculty member. So we plan class. We helped teach the class once a week. And then on top of that, we're also responsible for meeting with each of our students one-on-one throughout the semester, by fall break preferably. So early on, right from the start, we were all about building relationships, and kind of that transition is off to a good start for them. Yeah.
Yeah, we're like their first stop. So like when after the freshmen move in, they meet in the awkward quad. So this is like after you say goodbyes to your parents, you go to the quad, which is in between all the dorms, and it really is an awkward quad. Like we're out there yelling, like having them come to us. And so I remember as a freshman, I was like, this is the strangest thing I've ever done. It's like summer camp. It is summer camp in a way. Like yeah, but it's again, building those relationships, giving them opportunities and like hopefully safe environments where they feel like they can excel, they can thrive, they can feel like they can express themselves in an environment that's like warm and welcoming of it.
And how did you guys what did you have to do to be chosen to be SCA?
Yeah, so there's an information meeting that kind of happens. It's going to be coming up here in about 3 weeks to a month. So I went to that and I was like, oh my gosh, like what is this? So you kind of find out more about the position, what it entails. You kind of hear from current CAs about their experiences teaching the class. And then from there, you apply. So you obviously fill out an application, you get like references to write recommendations for you. And then you sign up for a group interview slot. So you're probably with 10 to 12 people, and there's a bunch of people on the outside of the room observing you, which Marcia tells us to pretend like they're not there and just to focus on the group. And you kind of go through different exercises. So like there's different things that we kind of do in class, like take a stand, which is like just differing opinions on issues, just figuring out what people think about certain issues. So you do that. There's like small group breakouts at the end of the group interviews. And it's just to kind of see how like we respond to different scenarios and situations. And then from there, sign up for an individual interview with a current course assistant and a faculty member that teaches the course, and it's probably 25, 30 minutes. Just they ask you questions about, how would you kind of react in these situations, what would you kind of do in terms of section events, and then you have an opportunity to ask them questions, and then from there it's just a selection process. So it's kind of nerve-wracking, I'm not going to lie, especially going into it your first time. Like, it's kind of nerve-wracking when
everyone's sitting around with their clipboards just staring at you.
Yeah, and you have to pretend like they're not there. You have to pretend like they're not there.
It's worse than a job interview.
Yeah, exactly.
I bet it is.
Yeah.
Kim, what would you give as advice to somebody who wants to be a CA?
I would say, go for it. And just be yourself when you're going through that applicant that applying process, because honestly that's what they're looking for. They're looking for you to be genuine, and if you're how you respond to situations, love people, be respectful, because you're not going to always have the same opinion as someone, but you can still love them and respect them for that opinion. And so
I love that. So I've heard the word community a lot in this conversation. Tell me what community means to Malone students. I mean, you've kind of told us a little bit, but if you wanted to expand on that, and what does that mean when you look at faculty and staff here?
Yeah, community. Communities might often just be word. Oh, I'm with a group of people. We're in community. But I feel like at Malone, you are building genuine, lifelong relationships with people. And it's so great and so fulfilling to see the Lord place so many amazing people around you at once. Because I was just thinking about we're never going to be surrounded around this many believers of Christ every single day after college. It's not going to happen.
Right.
So to be able to kind of dig in and invest in those relationships and build just a blessing of the relationships that God has kind of put in terms of people in your life, that's just amazing. So once my freshman year was kind of over and I kind of started to experience it, I'm going to go head first these next 3 years. And just to see the amazing ways that the Lord has worked and moved through the community and the people that I became into contact with at Malone is amazing. So, even my friends and the people I know in my dorm hall, obviously, the faculty and staff are so passionate about the things that they teach here, and they're passionate about you. They want to see you learn. They want to see you succeed both in and out of the classroom. To be able to openly talk about their faith with you is something that's amazing, and it gives me confidence to talk about my faith with other people on campus. And then, even CAs working with 14 or 15 amazing other people that have the same passions and the same interests as you for first year students and impacting them. And even Marcia directing that program, like it is embedded in everything we do here at Malone. And it is just so amazing to see the Lord work through the amazing people here at Malone.
Yeah, I completely agree. It really does, like, it reminds me a lot of, like, the first church, like, in Acts and stuff. Like when I go to celebration stuff and, like, I'm around, like, all the other, like, Malone students, I'm like, wow, you can just really feel that, like, you can just feel the Spirit. And I think that's one thing that's different about, like, Malone's community is that, like, it is, like, the Spirit is involved. Like, you know, he is with us. And it's, like, the relationships you build are so, like, they're just rich. They're just fulfilling. Like, it just, and the faculty and staff, like I was saying, like, they're like one of my favorite parts of the semester. And oh my goodness, so my professor Jessie, she's teaching pharm and patho, and like at first I was like, oh my goodness, these classes sound so hard, it's gonna be so difficult. But then she just, like, she wants us to succeed. Like, she wants to see me learn, she wants to see me, like, figure it out, and she wants me to be a great nurse. And it's just like, that's what's so awesome about Malone, because, like, all the professors I've had, they've all, like, shared that. They've all shared that common trend where they just want, like you said, they want to see you succeed. And they're loving. They're awesome. Like, they make it fun. They make it exciting. Like, you know, biology is not really my favorite class when it comes to that kind of stuff, learning about the itsy bitsy parts of the body, like, you know, microbes and stuff. But, like, hearing Dr. Lane, like, explain it to me in his like, during his office hours, it's like, okay, maybe I can do this. Like, and it's like, that's what, to me, the faculty brings in the community. It's just awesome.
Great. Okay, I want to know about what you're planning for your futures. So when you leave Malone, I know you want to be a nurse. I know you want to be a coach. How do you think Malone is going to not only academically inform that, but talk about how you feel prepared and what you're excited about for the future?
It's definitely, like, prepared me in, like, the whole, like, building relationships and stuff. Because, like, again, with this, like, Gen 100, like, it kind of forces you to, like, talk to people. And I mean, I'm after, like, college, that's kind of all we do. We talk to people. So, like, you have those relationships, collaboration, teamwork, doing group projects. It's just, like, a little different. You're not, like, turning in for a grade, but you're turning in for something a little more important. Like, so that I feel prepared. And, like, so I want to be a nurse, and I'm hoping to, like, do missions once I get some more experience, like, in an actual hospital. So, like, learning about different cultures, Malone has definitely prepared me for that. Like, and, like, next summer, I'm hoping to go to Spain. So, yeah, I know, it'll be fun.
I'll come visit. I'll make sure the program's really good.
Oh, good.
For
Yeah,
you.
you should come too.
Yeah, and I'll echo what she said, just the relationships. Like, obviously, I feel so prepared for what I want to do after I get out of Malone, like, to be a coach or even be an athletic director. Like, I feel academically prepared for what that's going to look like. But just the relationships, like, and figuring out if I don't know someone here, so I can start to build a relationship, how to form it, and then how to, like, cultivate that relationship. Because I like to think of, like, our relationships in life, and Marsh uses this metaphor with us a lot. Like, we're gardeners. Like, we're planting seeds that will bear the fruits of our labor and just bear the love of Christ. So just trying to prepare myself, and Malone has done a great job of that, for how I can do that in the workforce once I get out of Malone and graduate from here is going to be amazing. And I'm so grateful that everybody that I come into contact with is willing to do that with me.
Really foster, like, life skills, and even able to integrate, like, your Christian faith into it too, without being, like, in your face, like, I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
So you've mentioned Marcia several times. We should probably tell who Marcia is. Marcia Everett, and she is the
director of the college experience program. So she is our boss. So she heads all the CAs, and she's amazing. All the work that she puts in for the program.
Yeah.
She outlines training for all of us, and we really have a fun time during training when we move back in the fall. And, like, the meetings that we have with her, just how caring, how passionate she is about first year students, and, like, how prepared we are to take care of first year students and to just really love them. It's amazing, and she deserves all the credit in the world for the job that she's done running this program for over 30 years.
Right. Thank you,
like,
Dr. Everett, for
really,
that.
Yeah. She's one of the most genuine people I've ever met. Like, she has just such a warm soul and heart. Like, you can tell that she cares. Like, it's not an act.
Yeah.
All right. So if there are prospective students out there listening, what do you want to say to them about why they should come to Malone? I mean, I feel like you guys have already done a great job of being a great advertisement for Malone, but send them a message.
Yeah, if you're looking for a home, if you're looking for a place that you can really grow as a person, I mean, in your faith, or even if you're trying to figure out what faith is, if you're trying to find a community that you can sustain and just really be a part of for the rest of your life, come to Malone. It's such a great place, and we're doing great work here, and just everybody here is so amazing, and they will love you and they care for you and they want you to succeed in every single aspect of your life. So if you're looking for any of those things, don't hesitate. Jump at it. Come here. Come for a visit. You're not going to regret it. I can promise you that.
Yeah, and like if you're unsure about like exactly like what you want to major in, or like Malone is a great place if you like want to go undecided for first year. Like it's a great the professors really will help you and walk you through like figuring out what you want to do, what maybe you're interested in, and also like we have a huge athletic program here, so all the athletes.
All the athletes, come on over.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, guys, it has been delightful, as I knew it would be, to talk to both of you guys. Thanks so much for coming in and for starting us off.
Yeah,
thank you.
Thank you for having us. Thank you.
Yeah, it was a good time.
Thanks again for joining us today for Pioneer Portraits. I hope you will pray for Malone University. Send us students. Come visit our campus and speak well of us. If you like what you hear, share this episode on your social media or tell a friend the old-fashioned way.